Is your pre-approval letter worth the paper it's written on? Tune in to Tom's Take right now to find out. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. We've got my good friend here, Kyle Sutera with Mortgage America. He is here because he sent me a text message, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, that he got a fake pre-approval letter, not from him, but another buyer made this pre-approval letter up. They put your, name and company logo on there and a number for Quicken Loans?
They took my email signature, stamped it in there, phone number for Quicken Loans. They just completely fabricated it. I had talked to this client one time, sent them an email. Rather than going through the whole pre-approval process, they instead decided to piece together on, I think, Photoshop or something, a letter, saying that I had reviewed their file, and I hadn't.
So, obviously, this stuff happens. We've talked about wire fraud. We've talked about all sorts of scams that are related in real estate. There's a lot of money involved. Mm-hmm. This one's a little different, and rather than tell you what to look for and what not to look for, maybe what does this mean for buyers or sellers, or what should their agents be doing? So, talk to me about what questions or what things you tell buyers of, hey, make sure your lender's doing this to make sure the pre-approval's valid, because it's not just fake ones. There's also people that just take a credit report over the phone. They don't do anything else. So walk me through the process that you go through and maybe what to look for when trying to select a lender.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that goes into mortgage financing and to ultimately getting approved for a loan. As a loan officer, as someone issuing pre-approvals, we're really the first line of defense. So that piece of paper is really only as good as the work that we've put into it. But at the end of the day, a pre-approval letter is exactly that. It's a letter. It's a piece of paper. So you can go online, you can fill out a quick form, put in whatever information that you want, and get a letter. Or you can create your own, apparently. But on our end, there's different types of income that can be used. The credit report is very important. There's a lot of documentation that can sometimes go into it. So it's not that painful to get done, but it is a necessary step. Ultimately, it's our job to make sure that once that file goes to an underwriter, that it's going to get approved. So, as a seller from the seller side and a real estate agent from the seller side, it's as easy as a phone call.
100%.
That's how we found out that pre-approval letter was fake. The agent gave me a call just to make sure that everything was okay, to make sure I put the work in on it, and we found out that I hadn't at all. So, it might take 30 seconds to make sure that lender did their due diligence to make sure that it's real. And on the consumer side, as a buyer, if you're thinking about purchasing a home, like I said, you can go online and get a letter, but that doesn't mean you're going to get that loan. So, put the work in advance, talk to someone that you trust, get on the phone with someone, and make sure that letter is worth more than the piece of paper that it's written on.
Well, you bring up a really good point. What I heard there is make sure your agent is vetting the financing. So make just a simple phone call, and that's something we do all the time. On our offer evaluation form we send to our clients, at the bottom it says, hey, we talked to the lender and they said this, and this, so that we have kind of that double verification. And this is not a normal thing, to be very clear. This is something that happens all the time, but we're seeing all kinds of crazy stuff happen. So for the buyers that are watching, what sort of questions or documentation are you asking for when you're getting them pre-approved? What are the things they feel like they're going to need to come up with that they should be prepped for?
Right. It's a pre-approval, or ultimately getting approved for a loan, is it's income, it's assets, and it's credit. So, credit information, social security number, name, address, very simple stuff. Income, it really depends on how your income is structured. There's certain incomes that require more documentation, like tax returns, pay stubs, W-2s, 1099s. So, depending how your income is structured, it really starts with a conversation with a lender, and they can kind of point you in the right direction as to what you want to get. But and then bank statements for assets. So, be prepared to dive into your situation. Have some personal information ready to go, have some pay stubs at hand, some tax returns, and it's income, assets, and credit that are going to ultimately get you approved. So it's good to talk about those in the beginning rather than just skimming the surface.
100%. So get all your paperwork together, get it to your lender, and that's really what to expect with the pre-approval process. And if you're a seller, make sure your agent's getting someone on the phone that can answer questions about the loan, because these are big financial commitments people are making. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars in liability. A 30-second phone call's going to go a long way.
It can save a lot of time and trouble.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.